The Zone at 91.3 presents The B-Side.
The Drinking Jenga stayed in here. Dan Gunn's still playing with Drinking Jenga.
Yeah, what I like to do at 7 in the morning is get my drink on.
Yeah. Well, you didn't take any drinks, but you stacked it up quite nicely. Thank you
That's
very much.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, thank you.
7 p.m., I'm not very good at that.
Don't you knock it over.
Okay.
You've put in so much time. Dan Gunn, man!
Hey, Dylan Willis.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome.
What's on the B-side today, my man?
So, I think 6 years ago, this guy comes into my office. We were actually we used to have our office at the Tech Park. Do you guys know that?
Yes, I do.
So VIATEC used to be the Tech Park, and this guy comes in and he's got this really thick Scottish accent. So you kind of jump to some conclusions. Who's this new guy in town? All of them wrong. It turns out he was from like Calgary or Edmonton, somewhere in Alberta, and he had just been very successful in what we call life sciences biotech. So he just built a company, sold it, learned a bunch of lessons, and wanted Victoria to be his new home. And he's got this. So I never thought in my life I'd be talking to a thick Scottish accented man that just came from Alberta from a life sciences company.
Right.
And he's done well. He's learned some things along the way. He's got some bumps and bruises, and he wants to get involved in the community. And so we started hooking him up to mentor some of our companies and some of the people in the community. And a couple of years later, he came by and he's like, I think that Victoria could really benefit from a Scotch distillery. And I was like, of course you do, right?
And of course do I.
Everybody from Alberta and Life Sciences thinks we need a Scotch distillery in Victoria. And so he had this idea, and you know what? I don't think a lot of people fully appreciate, how much work goes into really being an entrepreneur, right? So you see things being successful when you finally heard of them, when they finally gotten over the hurdle, they finally built their market. But this was 5 years ago that he's kind of talking about this idea, putting together a plan, doing his research, finding all the investors. And just this week, Saanich Council approved their tasting room. So for special events, they're going to have a tasting room, and then for special events, they can stay open later. I think they allowed them to stay open until midnight.
Wow.
And so they're going to open a distillery. So it won't just be Scotch, from what I understand. I think they're even going to be doing some craft beer there as well. So as they get rolling, 17,000 square foot facility out by like Glanford Avenue. It's on Enterprise Crescent, I think is the road.
Oh, yeah.
And but they've got some technology that I haven't seen yet that they think they can accelerate the maturation process so they can make good tasting whiskeys faster. And what they're going to do when they first open is I think they call it finish batching, where somebody else maybe has been aging a Scotch at their distillery for 10 years, and you bring it in and you age it for the last couple of years so that you can get product in the market.
Right,
because otherwise,
yeah.
you could be 30 years from establishing a name for yourself.
Before you can utilize your tasting room.
Yeah, and so, I mean, obviously we've seen what's happened in the craft brewery, microbrewery space, and Victoria is phenomenal at it. Like, we are very lucky to have the quality of brewmasters that we have and the way that they share and build community. And it just makes sense that now we're going to see less of that large, well, I think we can make fun of Seagrams because they're not even owned by Canadians anymore, but that large kind of, mass manufactured wash, rinse, and repeat product, and actually something unique and local. Now, some of the unique and local stuff can be pretty gimmicky, but the idea that we're going to start making our own, we already got our own gins and vodkas and whiskeys.
And I've noticed that some of the wineries around town have really gotten on board. Divine Winery, they make amazing gins and vodkas and whiskeys as well.
Well, they know a lot about the process, right?
Yeah.
Fermentation is an art.
Well, I always thought that, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I guess I probably am, but that to make Scotch it has to be in Scotland.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so it's just like what's champagne and other things, right?
Okay.
So and there's
What do they call it? Just whiskey or?
I don't know the nomenclature naming process for the different things, but it's.
I was going to say nomenclature as well, just so everybody in the room knows.
Yeah,
I know what that word means.
Of course you do. You taught it to me, but yeah, I think there's two ways of looking at what you call it. Like champagne, right, is supposed to be only from grapes in Champagne,
right?
France. But if you do it the same way, if you use peat and moss and other things to do your fermentation, you're going to get similar tastes. And so I know the single malt is going to be a big part of what they do, but I don't know exactly what products are going to release. But talking about vineyards, also breweries, right? Like Phillips has been working on some products. They've got their gin.
Marydale makes fantastic hard liquor.
And then if you go, I was in an odd place. I've never been there before, but I was in Whitehorse in November. And I went to the Yukon Brewery, and I met the owner of Yukon Brewery, and I was doing a tour. At the back, tons of barrels. And I was like, are you doing what, it's become a thing, like stouts that are, aged in whiskey barrels and mixed with espressos and other things, and they taste great. And he's like, no, we're actually getting into distilling. And they had come up with a process. So how you've seen the vats that they make beer in, right? Normally when you're making, you've seen also pictures of stills from like the Kentucky backcountry and how small they are. they had built products that would attach to the flanges on their beer kettles so that they could do massive, like multi-thousand liter batches of their whiskeys in the same thing that they use for the beer.
Wow.
And then they bring it out, they put it in the barrels, and then the aging process is where they add the flavors and all of that. So it's a very patient game. But it's great to see this interweaving, great to see local entrepreneurs getting the backing and the support that they need to pull that off, and it'll be another great local thing for us.
Do you know the name of the new distillery that's opening up on Glanford?
Yeah, it's going to be called the Caledonian Distillery, and it's on Enterprise Crescent, and it's run by Macaloney Distilleries, and that's Graham Macaloney is the guy that I met 5-6 years ago. That I was really excited because I've been hearing him talk about the idea for a while, but the fact that it's all coming to fruition is pretty great.
Fantastic. People want to learn more. Where can they get the info?
They can check out alwayscheckthebside.com.
Awesome. Dan Gunn, thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for not bringing any booze that you keep talking about, by the way.
Exactly.
With drinking Jenga right here.
Yeah, really, eh?
What is with this guy? Thought I knew you, bro.
Next time, bring it like show and tell.
We're still on the air, man. No, people can't see that finger.